Bonjour, madame et monsieur, à tous et bienvenue dans le Esports Masters League. Nous sommes ici ce soir pour le Grand Prix de France au Castellet en France. Oh, good evening everyone and welcome along to the French Grand Prix. We are here tonight for EML Premier 1, Season 4, Round 6. It's the French Grand Prix. We are here in Le Castellet in France. My name is James Head. I'm not going to be doing French commentary for tonight. This man on the right hand side might be though, Mr. Alex the G. How you doing?
I'm doing great tonight. What a great intro, to be honest. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. We love to see it. We're back for EML indeed, and yeah, Le Castellet, a little venue where, well, it's a very interesting track, let's say. One of the drivers tonight here with Marlon has described it as a parking lot, which I don't necessarily disagree with. But on the other hand, I think we've got some great racing on our hands tonight with multiple great passing opportunities and, well, certainly a lot to look out for. And, yeah, that French might come out after all. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Hopefully drivers are not going to be saying sacre bleu to each other out on track here tonight in terms of the racing. But what we can say with confidence is Team Shazoo lead the way on 206 points, and they can't wrap up the championship obviously this week, but in future weeks they probably can. VIR in second, Virtual Insanity in second on 147, tied with FVR in third also on 147, so they're tied for second. NLR in fourth on 111, ET8 in fifth on 101. Trust Esports will come on to them in a bit with 95 points in sixth, GSP in seventh on 78, FRL in eighth on 73, Outplayed in ninth on 42, and then TTG, who really need to get their act together out on track with Slayer and Predator representing them tonight. They're in 10th on 23 points, and it is going to be fantastic to see the action out on track. And obviously in terms of the team standings, Alex, we've got Team Shazoo out there on top, a good 59 points ahead of VIR and FVR, who are fighting out for second. This will, I think, all change potentially in terms of the racing that we should expect out on track tonight.
Yep, realistically, of course, we are heading into the second half of the season as well, so certainly tensions might be rising a little bit, and maybe the teams who do want to rise up those standings will have to get some better racecraft out on the track today. And certainly, yeah, VIR and FVR, they're tied on points, second and third. That's going to be really, really interesting. And with Marlon also winning that last race there in Austria 2 weeks ago, they are certainly going to be hungry, and with a lineup of Marlon and Leon, certainly looking for something here today, as two very strong drivers might well be having a word in this.
Yeah, definitely do. Definitely so, indeed. Lesty has messaged, by the way, if you're wondering where EML Premier 2 is, Lesty's update is still getting done at this stage. Ivan as well, his update is still getting done, so therefore, Premier 2 is running a little bit behind schedule. Ivan Mike, I know, has just put himself up on Twitch, so potentially Mr. Mike is going to be racing tonight, which is going to be very interesting indeed. Looking through the driver lineup, and I'm just trying to find it. There we are, I've got them. Now the driver lineup, of course, for tonight. We have PSGL F1 man Marlon alongside Leon for VIR. Daddlepad and Playtender win for GSP. Gustav and Ryderdal in for ET8. Slayer and Predator in for TTG. Grosjean and Mustache, great name by the way. Hopefully not going to be a flop like the 2014 Eurovision entry Mustache by, oh god, I'm trying to think of it. You could remember it. Copenhagen, 2014 Eurovision. Go and watch that back. Mustache definitely on that. Devon and your own representing FVR. He's another FRL? PSGL F1 man, of course, is your own. As is Louis and Aurelian, who have, of course, representing Shazoo. Justin and Keki in for NLR, Rotation in, and Kyle Scarrett for FRL, and Yildream and Jet in for Team Relentless as well. And looking through that driver lineup, of course, Shazoo are going to be on top, but Devon and your own, very interested in terms of the placements of PSGL, one an F1, one an F2. They might just bring the fight to Shazoo tonight.
Yes, indeed. I mean, a lot of these new placements perhaps might come as a surprise, but certainly might put some of these drivers out there with a little more confidence, which perhaps they might just need to spring themselves up the order here in this French Grand Prix. Of course, we also have an F1 driver there as a reserve for FVR in Stefano. So some big confidence there going on that they can place a so-called F2 driver. You never know, of course, with these placements there in PSGL, but yeah, certainly they do have the drivers and they do have the cover to bring some very, very quick people on the table for this French Grand Prix. Qualifying just getting underway there. No rain cloud on the sky, it looks like. But it can always serve up a little bit of a treat here. And yeah, of course, on paper, looking at the lineups, Zhazou absolutely on top. 3 F1 drivers in that lineup, including reserve Jensen. Super strong lineup. And I mean, they look like they are the team to beat and they have the momentum on their side.
Yeah, definitely so. A little bit of ghosting going on there coming out the pit lane. I think it was a Rallian and an Aston Martin. I think a Predator potentially coming out the pit lane ahead. And a Rallian is one of the first men out on track. We are now getting the drivers, of course, out on track. It was actually Slayer, the other TTG man. And in fact, a Rallian's in a TTG sandwich, which is probably not the best way he wants to be spending his night involved in an Aston Martin sandwich. But a Rallian there, of course, top. Currently, I believe, in terms of the driver's standings as well, I'm just going to have a look at the driver's standings for EML Premier as well, in terms of F1, and let me get that up, because I have got the standings here. It just needs to load, my iPad being very slow, as I'm running on the wireless adapter, which is not that great. However, though, I can now bring you the driver's standings, and it is Louis out on... No, actually, no, it's Marlon out on top, in fact. 57 points, Jerome on 57, Stefano there in third on 51, Louis in fourth on 50, so he can take the championship lead here tonight off Marlon. Rick in fifth on 49, Rotterdam in sixth on 48, Xenox in seventh on 46, Xavier in eighth on 34, Rowan in ninth on 31, and then Keki in 10th on 30, along with Jensen and Aurelian. So there is going to be a lot of change potentially in terms of the drivers' standings. Of course, they do get their rigs at the end of the season as well, which people do not realise. We haven't called that much this season, but they do get a rig this season, and that for one of them is going to be possibly life-changing and career-changing as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a big drive for motivation as to who can place top of these driver standings. And I mean, it's so close up there, as you've already alluded to there with these point standings. It's super close there. And I mean, Marlon up top, having won the last race, is going to be riding a bit of a wave of momentum here. But you never know what these drivers can serve up, as now the Slayer there, starting his first lap in this French Grand Prix qualifying session. Turns 1 and 2. Nice flowing chicane, but he stacks it there. He's around. And therefore we have to look at, well, who is it? It will be Aurelian. Yep.
Yeah, it is Aurelian, and I was actually on board with him because I thought, yeah, the TTG man might just spin, or he's going to be a little bit slow on his lap. Yeah, Aurelian through the first sector, 22-1, very nice first sector. We should see 21-9s, 21-8 as the session goes on out on track, but Aurelian looking now down the straight, down in towards Le Chicane Nord at turns 8 and 9. My French does know no bounds. I do know the corner names around this track though, which at least is a positive, but it's done in a thick northeastern accent, so hopefully you can understand. Aurelian coming to the left-hander at turn number 9, and then up the hill in towards turn number 10 at, I think it's Ravage, if I'm not mistaken. 49.8 in the middle sector through the right-hander turn number 10, flat out, 190 mile an hour carried through turn number 10, then into the right-hander turn number 11, and this is looking like a very assured lap so far from Aurelian. Through the left-hander, the right-hander 11, now into the left-hander turn number 12. This looks really, really nice. And again, really nice on the power. It's just smooth. It's silky smooth. It's like a moose out on track. It's just one of them fancy French caviars that you normally get in a snail shop or something. But Aurelian coming through Lac and Pont at turn 14 and 15. I don't know about the French culture. I'm just making it up as we go along. As Aurelian now runs to the line, and it's a 29.8 to start off the night. That is a huge lap to begin off.
Straight into the 29s there, and I think that is a bit of a statement, perhaps, towards the rest of the drivers. Louis is now coming across the line, his teammate as well. Both French drivers, of course, are both home racers here, and 2 tenths behind at the moment. There's probably still a lot of time in this, but certainly more drivers to come. Ryder starting on very, very close behind, and there's a lot of improvements yet to come. Track Evolution pretty strong as well around this circuit, so we're going to have to look out for those late laps to come in.
Yeah, plenty of invalidations actually on a run. Rotation is apparently purple in the middle sector. I don't believe he actually is. I think he's down on Kyle Scarrett's time at this stage. But Aurelian's out on top, Louis there in second. French 1-2 if you are a French supporter in the chat. And let me know in the comments, as Jerome actually splits the pair, let me know in the comment section who you're supporting for tonight. I'd be delighted to see your comments coming through on the right-hand side of me tonight as we watch rotation coming into the left-hander of Lac at turn 14 and then to the right-hander of Pont at turn 15. PSG left 2-man last season and this season. Devon has just gone third as well, 29.966 on his lap time as rotation. Now on the run to the line, actually goes quicker than Keki. Not a bad lap there at all. I can't even speak. Rotation, not a bad lap there at all. Goodness me, if I can get my words out, that'd be great. 130.178, but it's a rally now on top. Euron in second, Devon in third. Yellow flag in the middle sector is an Alfa Romeo backing off. I think that's Kyle Scarrett in that part of the track. But many invalidations, as I mentioned, Gustav included in that as well. He's done this and next lap invalidation, so therefore he'll be coming in the pit lane, I would think.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, it's pretty easy to get an invalidation here. Let's look at just how open this racetrack is. I'm just riding on board here with Grosjean here for the Ace team, who of course are subbing in for this Trust Esports team, which, well, we have mentioned before, but I mean, I don't think it is really too necessary to go on about that for the moment. Marlon has just gone second there, just 5/1000ths ahead of his fellow, now F1 driver there in FBR Jerome. And yeah, Grosjean is coming across the line now, and he's currently slowest off the lot by about half a tenth there to Carl Scarrett. Certainly a lot of improvement yet to come. Also, I've just realized Relentless are in the Haas, which is usually taken by Trust Esports, but usually they'd be in the Alpine, so maybe that was a bit of a deal there going on between Relentless and the Ace Esports team for today. Yeah, certainly some quite a lot of invalidations, as we can see there. We've still got everyone from 13th down not having set a lap, so that's 8 drivers. It's pretty massive. So the first one to change that looks to be Relentless Jet, just coming through this last sector now and into turns 14 and 15. Those two very shortly afterwards, after each other. And now this right-hand hairpin stays in 4th gear, needs that lot of traction there on the exit to get a good exit, because how far that line is down the main straight, and comes across the line and now replaces Grosjean there as the slowest driver at the moment.
Yeah, and Jet might be wondering to himself, are you going to be my girl by the end of it tonight as well? But it's a rally out on top, Marlon in second, Euron in third. If you haven't got that, please look it up, because that was probably 5 seconds worth of my thinking time when Alex was speaking there, completely and utterly wasted. But a rallying's out on top from Marlon there in second, Euron there in third. But look at how close the top 9 are. We've got a rallying Takaki covered by less than 0.4 of a second. Louis there in 5th has done a good job. He's now on an out lap as well. Predator, I believe, is on a lap, but he's actually invalidated through that first sector, which is a shame. Slayer as well. He's hoping to slay the competition tonight. Purple apparently in the first sector, coming to the left-hander now, onto the Mistral, straight down towards the Chicane Nord at turns 8 and 9. But Slayer will be hoping for a good lap. He got a little bit of slipstream there from the AlphaTauri of Louis, who was just backing off on an out lap. But Slayer now in towards turns 8 and 9. Looking not too bad through this part of the track, and again a little bit sketchy on the exit. This is looking to be sub 50 in the middle sector. This is not going to be too bad. 49.9, much better from the TTG boys out on track from Slay's perspective, certainly. He's now on the run through turn 10 into the right-hander turn 11, but this is actually going to compete there with Leon, rotation, Keki, probably ahead of Daddlepad.
Yeah, indeed. It's looking a pretty decent lap so far there for the TTG team, and it's just those minute fractions of differences that are going to make up the time, which of course splits those top few drivers there. But very solid lap so far from Slayer indeed. Now heading through turn 14, cuts in a little bit towards the end, and now down to third, even taking a tighter line than we've seen previously. And now getting some good traction down here. It looks like a pretty good lap, actually, from the Aston Martin man. TTG might just have someone just missing out on the 29s, but a solid lap regardless. And I think that is now Louis starting a lap as well behind, so we're going to very much have to look out for him.
Yeah, I'm on board with them. Coming to the right-hand return, number 2. Slayer there going 6th position, even best than what I was predicting, which is not a bad sort of showing at all. I think Slayer has recently rejoined TTG as well, so that has brought about a little bit of a pace difference there. So therefore, in 6th position, doing a good job. Louis through the first sector, 22.1 in the first sector. He's 800 up, Purple in the first sector. Now, this middle sector is not really defining out on track. It's the final sector that defines a lap around here. Maze, by the way, just messaged me in DM saying that Relentless are racing as reserves for Trust. That's why they're in the Haas. And Ace are now full-time in the Alpine for Relentless because of no-shows from other teams. So that makes sense, as now Louis comes up the hill, slipstreaming in effect, 49.7 in the middle sector, and this is what we haven't seen so far tonight. We have not seen any slipstream effect out on track, but look at that. Even through turn 11, he was very close, I think, to making contact with the Aston Martin on the right-hand side. But Louis now on towards turn number 12. He can really put this lap in. This is going 29.6 range in terms of this lap. This has looked really good from Louis. Is he going to do the same to rallying them behind? You'd imagine so.
Yeah, most likely. Now look at this final corner. He's going to have to get very good traction. He misses that apex a tiny bit. Gets very far on the curb, but it's still good traction as he doesn't get caught really on that high part of the curb. So let's see now. Louis Valentin crosses the line. 29.7. He's lost a little bit, but a very strong lap regardless. Lots another 10th ahead of Aurelian, who I'd imagine will receive a tow now as well, down either the back straight or the one after that.
Your own as well, just invalidated actually coming out of turn number 11. He was purple in the middle sector. The Alfa Romeo as well, off track. I think that's Carl Scarrett off track through the middle sector. Marlon has just started up on another run as well. He actually did an invalid lap as Aurelian through the first sector is a 22 flat, so actually quicker than Louis in the first sector by a 10th of a second, and has got a bit of slipstream coming up his way as well on the second half of the Mistral Straight, which is really important. It's Louis out on top though, Aurelian in second, Marlon there in third. Currently, Shazoo hold the crown at this stage, maybe like a Vida Mons in Eurovision 2023 for France, but Louis out on top, Aurelian in second, Marlon there in third, and this slipstream, he's a little bit too far behind. 49.7 in the middle sector is respectful. He's not going as quick as his teammate though.
Yeah, he's literally pretty much equal on time there. He's heading out of the way there at about the same time. Maybe a little bit of an early turn in there into the Bose corner, that is. But now let's have a look through this turn 12. A very difficult one to get right. You have to cut in from very far outside. Oh, he doesn't quite get it right, does the Frenchman. But now let's have a look. These last two corners will be decisive as to how good the lap's going to be. We've seen Louis gone slightly wide there through the final corner. Aurelian hasn't done that. Very good run through there. Now let's have a look. We need to see the exit. I think this could be super, super close between the two due to the mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
6/100ths of a second between the two, but still a 1-2 for Shazoo. Very crucial.
Yeah, really big lap there from Aurelian. Did go quicker, 700ths of a second now clear of Louis in second. Shazoo currently holding first and second. And look, that is the effect that the slipstream has. Once you have the slipstream, it gains you 0.3 of a second. As Justin, I think, has just popped up into second. Maybe got a little bit of slipstream, but I think he didn't. I think that's actually more on pace than anything else. Justin there at the second. Very good lap time from him. And you told me before the stream, I'm not gonna announce it for his sake, but he is going to be joining a much bigger team going forward, is all I'm going to say. Rotation has gone into fourth as well, but it's running out on top, just in second, Louis there in third.
Yeah, that's actually just been a spin there, perhaps, for Marlon into turn 2. So he's just recovered that car there. But indeed, I've just on board with Devin, as of course he was looking to bring up a good lap, but then rotation goes even faster. So very impressive stuff there. Rotation on the second row alongside Louis Valentin at the moment. But right now we do have to keep an eye on some of these laps. The Slayer, I believe, is finishing. No, he's actually starting one. Showed the middle sector incorrectly there, but a lot of invalid laps going on, I think, at the moment. Gustav also not on a fast lap right now. Keke is one on a lap, but he's also invalidated. Oh, just has big overs there out of turn 12 there, just catches the car. It doesn't look like anyone's really on a fast lap at the moment, which is very interesting for this stage of the session. Relentless Jewelbream as well, currently the only driver without a lap time, also invalidated through sector 3. So a lot of mistakes coming in, and with just 4.5 minutes to go. How close is this going to be to the final standings? Oh, this is going to be very interesting. As Justin now heading into the pit lane as well, I believe many drivers will do the same thing and then get out for one final run in this session. Of course, we haven't talked about the weather either. I don't think, though, due to chat comments, that it's going to be raining in the race. Also, of course, as you see, not in qualifying. So, yeah, we'll have a look at that one, but I think we should be in for a dry session today.
Yeah, it was confirmed a little bit earlier on. It is going to be a full dry session, both for qualifying and indeed the race. Even though the cloud cover is beginning to build over the circuit, it is way too late for rain in qualifying. So if you're getting your hopes up about that, don't. Aurelian out on top from Justin in second. Louis there in third. 4 minutes ago here in Le Castellet in France for the French Grand Prix. Round 6, of course, of the EML Premier 1 Championship. Premier 2, I believe, is now live. I'm just going to double check this, but I believe Premier 2 is or was live, and I don't know how long Leslie's copying of his game is going, so that is literally why there is no Premier 2 stream. So if you're tuning into Premier 1 and expecting Premier 2, I assure you, I hope, is going to be live. I'm going to double check in the chat just to be sure. but he has got 10% to do, so the stream apparently is gonna be up very soon.
Well, that's of course very good news. Though, of course, for the time being, we don't mind you all being here for Premier 1, of course.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the more competitive tier. You never know that. But certainly still, we've got some great racing on show on both of these tiers. So hopefully, of course, Premier 2 will go live eventually as well. And yeah, Leslie confirming, I believe, that it will be going live fairly soon. And then we'll have a great session up on our hands as well. But I think the first driver now here in Premier 1, Louis Valentin, now heading through this final sector. He'll be the first in his home Grand Prix to start a lap time. He's just 6/100ths off pole position of his teammate Aurelian, in fact. But is not on the front row due to Justin splitting the two. And yeah, he's actually out pretty early, so he might have to look out for a little bit of traffic as, yeah, everybody now peeling out of the pit lane. This could be very interesting for the Frenchman.
Yeah, and this will be choreographed as well from a Shizou point of view. Aurelian still hasn't came out the pit lane just yet, I believe. He's on the exit of the pit lane now, so this is choreographed to perfection, actually, in terms of slipstream. He wants to be getting ahead of the guys that are coming out of the pit lane, right to the right-hand side of him. This is going to be an absolute annoyance coming out of the pit lane. There's going to be an Alpine in the way towards turn number 1. If he gets out of the way, which might be the case, through the right-hand of turn number 2, he's actually fine. He's okay. Louis is clear of the Alpine, and now has got his teammate right in front of him, maybe to give him slipstream down the second half of the Mistral Straight, as we've seen so many times in the past around here in France. It does gain you that slipstream as he's 200s up in the first sector. Doesn't even need his teammate through the first sector. Beautiful stuff from Louis, now coming through the left-hander of turn 7, down the Mistral Straight, down in towards the Le Chicane Nord once again. But you can see the weaving that is going on in front. That is Aurelian right in front of him in camera shot, and now the slipstream train is going to come into effect, and this is going to be all the way up towards turn 11. Beautiful through the chicane there of the chicane Nord at turns 8 and 9, but again he's a little bit off the slipstream. Want to see a little bit more. That is more though. That is purely on pace himself. 49.6 in the middle sector. This might gain him an extra tenth of a second. Louis is going to be there or thereabouts to take Aurelian's top spot.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Now he needs a good final sector. He needs to get whatever he has out of those tyres. And certainly still hope that other drivers behind him aren't going to go that much quicker. But it looks like a very good final lap so far. That is so wide on the track limits. Perfectly done by the Frenchman. PSG left one, not for no reason. No driver ahead holding up as well. So that will be ideally timed. And Shizou Louis Valentin. Brilliant run. I think that might go another 10th or even 2 quicker.
To the line, let's see, 20. Oh, he doesn't improve!
Oh!
He doesn't improve! Well, he does improve his time, but he doesn't improve his position. That is a shock. 200ths of a second in the end he found. Maybe with his added cloud covers, Justin has invalidated on his lap, so he's not going to get another run in. Aurelian, rotation. Rotation is on the lap, and he's actually a 10th quicker in the first sector. Through the middle sector. Big middle sector from rotation. A 10th and a half up. Devon's gone fit. Moreland has retired out on track as well. That's coming out the chicane at turn number 9. But rotation, the FRM on Giron now goes quickest. Huge lap from Giron. Aurelian's first sector, by the way. 200s up. 22 flat through the first sector. Rotation, though, has over-rotated through turn 11, and he's invalidated his lap, which is a shame. He was looking so quick on that lap. But Aurelian now the man to watch out for. The likes of Slayer, the likes of Rotterdam, further up on the lap as well. The AlphaTauris now have to get this slipstream right. Aurelian, 49.6 in the middle sector. Big in the middle sector, but we saw with Louis' lap, Alex, that it can wither away in that final sector. Maybe now, this is Aurelian's chance to shine. He's a 10th and a half up. He can lose this 10th of a second, and he'll still be on pole position at this stage.
I feel like he always gets such a direct run there through the Bolsing corner, but he spins! He's round! And that should be it for Aurelian. Giron stays on pole for the moment, but who else is yet to come? Ryderdahl's now coming, but he's barely improved, doesn't improve on his position, I don't think. As I think this might just be the end of the quali, yeah, that's it.
Grosjean is improving. Jet, I think, is improving as well. So these are two to watch out for further down the field, but nobody's going to get close to your own, it seems. Out on track, Leon is invalidating his lap, so he's the only one that can really get close. Grosjean goes 14th. Jet, a 10th down in the middle sector, and now comes the line, and he actually does improve by a 10th and a half, but stays as it is at this stage. And that, my friends, is the end of qualifying, and who would have thought it? A Dutchman out on top in France. Your own out on top. FVR come alive. 5,000th of a second separating him and Aurelian. First and second. Justin there in third. Louis there in fourth. Big lap times, 500 per second covering the top 4, but it's Jeroen out on top. The PSGL F1 reserve has put the PSGL F1 full-time driver on notice.
Oh, yes, he has. Jeroen with a very, very big lap there, coming in right at the end and right where it mattered. And his teammate in 6th as well. It's not looking too bad for FBR, is it? While teams like VIR perhaps would have expected a bit more from the session. I was actually on board with Marlon, and he unfortunately did lose that rear end and oversteered, unfortunately, into the barrier, which sent him out of the session. So that could be a big blow for the man who won last time out, and of course is also leading the driver's standings. But yeah, as you said, half a tenth covering the top 4. This is spicy. This is super interesting.
This is really spicy indeed, as Jeroen takes the top spot from Aurelian in 2nd, Justin there in 3rd, Louis there in 4th. If that's not going to whet your appetite, I don't know what is. Rotation there in 5th did well. Devon in 6th, Slay there in 7th. TTG getting right back to form, I think, with his pace there. Marlon in 8th, Rodadell in 9th. Daddlepad round off the top 10 for ET8. And then Louis in 11th, Leon, I should say, in 11th. Gustav there in 12th, Keki in 13th. Grosjean 14th, Predator 15th, Jet 16th, Carl Scarrett 17th, Playtendo 18th. A second covering the top 18, and then Mustache in 19th. Luckily, not finishing last position like the 2014 entry in Eurovision did, but Yildirim is starting right at the back of the field, as we are now here for dry racing. Once again, beautiful blue skies and sunshine, and this is going to bring a real emphasis, Alex, on tyre wear around this track. The tyre wear around this track is so heavy, especially for the drivers that start on a set of mediums.
Yes, and I think also the setup will make probably quite a difference, as the tyre pressures are known to slightly alter those tyre wear ratios a little bit. So perhaps those drivers that can run slightly higher to the expense of maybe a little higher tyre temperature and can get away with it, might just have a tiny advantage in this race trim. We've seen it before where higher tyre pressures have actually decided the outcome of the race. We've seen that in Imola, where Keke, of course, actually did have higher tyre pressures. He confirmed it to me. He had higher tyre pressures than Louis Valentin, and that's actually what sealed the difference. So you never know. Perhaps some of these drivers who are struggling a little bit more in race trim and on these tyre pressures, tyre temperatures, they might just have a little disadvantage here.
I'm just watching the mechanics. The mechanics of all ghosts inside of each other.
Yeah. They're T-posing. It's great.
That's unbelievable. We have had a new patch update, by the way, and I didn't think things could get worse in terms of pre-game loading, but this, I think, has just topped the whole lot. In terms
I was
of
actually just waiting to discover a new bug, and I mean, here we go. There's another one. Another one for the books.
It's literally as if they're forming a conga line in terms of the pit lane, the mechanics. It's unbelievable. They're just standing there aimlessly while the crowd, actually, I've just noticed as well, they've actually covered the stand over the top of the hospitality, which never used to be here in France.
Well, innovative ways to watch a race, I suppose, and that's a perfect call to start, isn't it?
It is indeed. 5 red lights about to go out here for EML Premier 1 for round number 6 here in Le Castellet in France. And it is lights and away we go. Very slow start by Justin. He's absolutely slept off the line, and Louis already going to get him down in towards turn 1. But Jeroen will lead in towards turn number 1. Rallying to the inside line will try and challenge him, but in the end, Jeroen comes out on top on the battle down in towards turn number 1. Rallying there in 2nd, Louis there in 3rd, Justin there in 4th, side by side as well in the background. Their rotation ahead of Devon early on. Very, very clean throughout the whole field. A little bit of contact there, I think, from Daddlepad on Ryderdal. A little bit of contact again through the middle sector, coming in towards the first sector split. Now through the right hand at turn number 6, and again getting caught into the Daddlepad and Ryderdal. Just about get away with it. Leon tries to make it 3 wide like a partner of the Red Sea to the outside line. Gets the job done, but Daddlepad might have a little bit of rear wing damage. He's struggling to a lot of traction. There's a spinner in the background, and that is Predator that is round. And Predator, unfortunately, getting caught up, I think, with Yildirim and that as well. But Jeroen leads the way from Aurelian there in 2nd, Justin there in 3rd. All now scrummaging for position coming through the chicane Nord. But Jeroen leads the way, Aurelian in 2nd, and already they're trying to break the gap out to 7/10 of a second as a side by side between Gustav and Daddlepad, and Playtendo getting on the act as well.
Oh, there was some massive action going on there as we headed onto the first bit of that Mistral straight. It was almost 4 wide at one point, but they all got through fairly clean. The only one who got slightly unlucky there was Predator, who got spun around, maybe caught in the crossfire a little bit. But as you said, yeah, Jerome leading the way now in front of Aurelian. Very clean start from the two, just to getting away very slowly and immediately swallowed by Aurelian's teammate there, Louis Valentin. And 2 and 3 already both Shizukas on the podium. Is this a sign of things to come? Now, Jerome is on his own there a little bit at the front, and it's certainly going to be very difficult to keep up. It's Jet there at the back. Yep, Jet making a mistake, and yeah, he is now, it's right at the back, but look at that action going on there up front. Carlos Garrett trying a move on ETA Gustav, that is, and to the inside turn 1, he actually does get it done, just breaks him there. And Gustav trying to get a switchback. Can he make this work? No, he does not. And perhaps maybe the next corner not the best to overtake in, but Daddlepad right on the back is going to the outside. If he makes this work, that would be a brilliant move from the German driver there for GSP. Slight contact being made, but he can't make that work on the McLaren. That would have been a brilliant move.
Yeah, Daddlepad right on the back of Gustav. He has dropped down 6 positions though off the race start. So has Gustav. He's dropped 3. Jet's dropped 3 after that mistake on the curve, actually coming out the final corner. And Predator's dropped 5 after that mistake, of course, and that spin in the background. The shot coming down in towards the Meteor straight. Here comes Daddlepad again down the inside line of Gustav. Gustav forced out wide this time. Might try the switchback. The GSP man has contact in the background. The Mustache and Yilbream have been caught up in a separate incident. But up the hill, Gustav has the traction and has the pace to try and just pull away from Daddlepad for 15th position, and Daddlepad actually breaks out of 7th gear, and that is that one done. Gustav there staying in 15th, Daddlepad there in 6th, and with a look at that, the front, Jeroen leading the way. He's nearly dropped a 2nd already to Aurelian. In fact, it is a 2nd to Aurelian there in 2nd, Louis there in 3rd with Justin there in 4th. I was going to say just Gustin there for some reason, but Jeroen leads the way, Aurelian in 2nd and Louis in 3rd. The big question now is, what does Shizou do? They've got 2nd and 3rd. They've got track position as well, I think, over Jeroen. They look quicker down the straight. Aurelian just has to really stick with Jeroen, I think, just to put him under a bit of pressure. Jeroen, I think, has gone too hard too early here.
Yes, he's already used up basically all his ERS, and I don't think he knows that Aurelian's, that might have also been track limits there for Jeroen, perhaps, as Aurelian does have a tiny bit more ERS, but the one who's really got the most out of the 3 is Louis Valentin, but he is also the only one who, at the moment, does not have the DRS, because there's a detection point right here, and that means Louis Valentin has actually missed out. Justin stays in and has about 50% of the battery, so this is certainly very interesting, very shaping up to be an interesting one, but a lot of DRS, of course, going on as well. At the back, I believe, there is some moves going on, but don't think anybody is really very close enough. And yeah, that's a bit of a theme sometimes with the Paul Ricard circuit, as yeah, a lot of battling going on. And Devon, as you said, to the inside of Senior. Looks like a very, very solid move, actually, that. Yeah, gets straight through.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Not Ravage, as I mentioned a little bit earlier on. I think I got confused with Monaco in terms of the corner names there. But Devon doing his into fifth rotation there in 6th. Good move there by the PSGL F2 man. And that, of course, you can catch with 7 PM. Alongside me is going to be Conal Moore, who is going to be coming through. I will get used to that pronunciation, I guarantee it. But PSGL F2 this season, myself and Moore Games taking you through the action. And Devon is going to be there as part of the action, of course, in PSGL F2 this season. Not like you want to tune in for PSGL F1 or anything, but you're on out on top already in there in 2nd, Louis there in 3rd, and Liam saying in the chat as well, Justin is cooking. Yeah, Justin is definitely cooking out on track so far. Maybe he smells what Louis is cooking ahead of him, and maybe he's just going to try and rock bottom him to the inside line down and towards the chicane node.
Yeah, perhaps this is looking very much on right now due to that low ERS that Louis Valentin is having right now. But at least he has made it back into his teammates' ERS. That was possibly a bit of track limits going on there for Justin, but I think that's going to be a main part to look out for. Because, of course, there's so much runoff, but there's also so much scope for drivers to cut these corners and get an unnecessary warning or two, which could then result in a penalty, and that could perhaps be race deciding. That was a big cut from Justin, as his teammate Keki there making the move on VIR Leon. And yeah, they're now going to have to get a move on there. Keki now up to P10 and has to catch solid half a second there after Ryderdal, who's right up the back of Slayer for TTG, and carrying that flag of TTG in the top 10. Very solid stuff so far. And just to also rule out the strategy a little bit, everyone's on hards, so the strategic variety is massive today. if we can say it like that. Right, losing the rear end there, exiting the Bose corner, but I think that's just part of the game, really. Keeping your head up in this situation, keeping the focus. That's a yellow flag. That is the Mercedes. That is Daddlepad at the back. I think Mustache perhaps has made a mistake. No, that's Jet. Yeah, Jet and Daddlepad have both made a mistake and are now right at the back. And yeah, they won't like that with the DRS train that we have going on right now.
Yeah, and looking on the right-hand side as well, I think they were separate incidents in terms of that as well. I think they both got caught on the curb. One of them's over-rotated round. Willem's got caught on the curb and then spun. Jet has already done that once tonight, I should say, through the final corner. So Jet there ahead of Daddlepad. Daddlepad came off worse, but none of them have got damage, which is good. And Jeroen holding the lead out in front by 8/10 of a second. Already in there in second, but again, Louis in third. Just looks a little bit off the pace right now. 19% of ERS. Aurelian's got 16%, so he's got a little bit less than his teammate behind him. But he is going to have to watch out for Justin. Justin has got more ERS than them combined, 22% in terms of ERS compared to Louis at this stage, so about 6% more at this stage, and that 6% more will gain him, I would think, around 3-4 mile an hour extra, and that is going to be absolutely crucial for Justin later on in the race. But when does he decide to go for the move? Speaking of deciding to go for the move, right on the back of Slayer, run up the hill in towards Senior turn number 10, and he looks towards the inside line. He's going to get a phenomenal run. He taps the back end of the Aston Martin, and in the end the Swede might just try and get the job done in towards turn 11. We turn the timing tower off just to see this move. In the end, Rotterdam, bit sketchy. Now in towards turn number 12, it's not going to happen, and Slayer remains in P8. Rotterdam there in P9, but that was a good try by Rotterdam. If he actually got a really good, if he actually got a better run and actually changed the angle a little bit, I think he would have got that move done before turn 11.
I think so as well, yes, and I think that's perhaps the little trend that is going on here in this French Grand Prix. You're going to have to go slightly unorthodox for these overtakes because you're going to have a lot of DRS trains going on. Let's see if Rotterdam wants to make a move now into turn 1, but I think it's just too fast, too risky of a braking zone, though Slayer goes slightly deep. And looks like Ryder perhaps might be looking for a better exit now. But then again, turn 3 isn't exactly the overtaking opportunity. But Ryder had a look to the inside. Just can't make that work. It's just too quick a corner, too much of a risk perhaps to take as well. Of course, solidly in the top 10 is Ryder as well. So he wouldn't want to risk too much. And Keke, in fact, behind, has actually made it into DRS range. Oh, she gets a big slide. Oh, this is always so uncomfortable to watch when perhaps in these long corners as well, you get these slides. And you lose all that momentum, really. As I think right now, the top 5 have broken away from rotation, and Marlon right behind.
Rotterdam again looking on the back of Slayer. He is literally all over the rear wing of the Aston Martin, and he needs to think about getting this job done now because he has got so much straight line speed. The ET8 man's going to breeze past towards turn number 10 at Cine, now up the hill in towards turn number 10. Job done from Rotterdam. That's what he should have done last lap around. Indeed he didn't, but Rotterdam waits another lap and gets the move done. He's into 8th. The Marlon now pushing rotation as well, pretty much through the corner at turn number 11, now until the left-hander at turn number 12. It's Jeroen out on top of running in second, but now top 5 beginning to concertina on each other, and that is good news for the likes of Devon and the likes of Justin. They can save up a little bit of extra ERS and they can actually go for the move. Devon, in fact, actually looks quicker than all 4 of them ahead, and Devon in that stage in the Ferrari has got gap between himself and rotation of 1.4 seconds. That gap is only going to extend. Marlon needs to put rotation under pressure, especially because he has got 10% more ERS than him.
Yeah, I think driving in these DRS trains and then being at the back of them as well. Oh, Marlon, big save. Whoa, that must have been a bit of a Cole Brown moment for him, but he has held it together. I mean, PSGL F1 qualities right there as well, but I mean, coming back maybe to those top 5, that top 5 train, I think being at the back of it might be a little more comfortable even than being right in the middle like Louis Valentin is at the moment, as that's a very weak exit from rotation, and Marlon, yeah, he's going to pounce on that. Can he even get into that DRS range of the top 5? Not yet, it seems, but now he's going to unlock some of that pace, and hopefully for his sake, going to have a word with that as well, and then he's going to join the very back of that queue. Of course, strategy will play a part in this too, but yeah, as you said, the tyre wear very high on this circuit, and therefore I think any lap that you pit earlier than your competitors is going to hurt you towards the end. So having the freshest tyres, despite maybe a loss of track position, might just be a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely so. And to be honest, the Shazoo boys are now beginning to get on with things. Jeroen is weathering the storm for now. He's weathering the Shazoo storm, but now Eurona's got to basically get a move on because Marlon, all of a sudden, is dipping nearly inside of a second there to Devon. This is going to be huge from the VR man to try and get that second. He's 300s outside of DRS, but he is nearly within that DRS margin, possibly down in toward the Mistral straight, down in towards the Chicane Nord. He'll be close enough. But Marlon has got to rely on his pace more than anything else, and there was a slight twitch coming through turn number 1 on exit or on entry into the corner. Just cost him a bit of time. He's having to use all of that battery up. In the end, though, he's got to be saving that battery, as Devon is on the back of Justin. Look at that, 43% of ERS compared to Justin on 33%. So Devon has got 12% more ERS, and he's got more fuel in the car as well. Red fuel light flashing for Justin already, so he's running quite low on fuel. That's probably less than half a litre of fuel in terms of getting to the end, as Jet is through a mustache down in towards turn number 4. He gets the job done into P18. And in the end, nobody's going to go for the move down the straight. But Jeroen leads the way, rallying in second. Louis there in third. Justin there in fourth. And Devon there in fifth. Jav, by the way, in the comment section. Very nice Danish Eurovision lyric. Whatever it was that he put in. But it's the Danish entry for Eurovision. There you go.
Oh my, look at these. This top 5 is following each other right in their gearbox. Pretty much all of them have a gap of maximum 4/10 to each other. And look how close this is. I think Marlon's going to join this in no time, knowing his pace. And he might just pull some of those drivers in with him, as some swaps they're going on. Jet and Jobrim there at the back for relentless swapping places. As
he's okay.
Bit interesting this. And Marlon is in. Marlon is in.
Yeah. And he's dragged, rotation, Rodadal, Slayer, Keki, Leon, all with him as well. They're all in the same DRS train. And now it is an 11-car train for the race lead here in France. And who said France couldn't deliver a bit of action? Normally, second half is better than the first half. However, into the pit stops, we are going to get some really good action, I think, out on track. But Jeroen leads the way, running in second, Louis in third. 1/3 distance here, of course, in France. If you're wanting more action as well, coming up this week, League Racing TV has, of course, got EML Premier 2. That is now live, I should say. TML F1 and TML F2, of course, both tomorrow and Friday, 8 PM UK time. Don't want to miss that at all, as Devon is right on the back of Justin. Look at the straight line speed compared to Justin, even coming off the corner. He looks the inside line. He's going to try and fake the move, but Devon, I think, has got to get on with things now. If FBR have got a plan, I think it's for Devon to try and mix his way through the field, get Justin, then get Louis, and really help Jeroen out, because Jeroen is under all sorts of pressure right now. He needs help.
Oh yes, he does, but I think he's actually recovered fairly solid ground there with the ERS as well. We've seen him run low on the battery the earliest. He goes a little bit deep, perhaps, we both say. But Playtendo there at the back with Gustav. And the position is actually made up there. So that is
Louis and Justin! Louis and Justin get caught on each other, I think, coming out of turn number 12. I was a bit late to that, actually. Devon's now through and he's into third, but I think what has happened there is Justin has gone maybe into the side of Louis. And in the end, coming out of turn number 11, I'm not sure if they got caught on each other. If they did, then they've obviously lost positions. Devon now through and he's into third. And that is literally what I said about 45 seconds ago, coming to absolute fruition in just the wrong way. Now Devon has got Jeroen's back completely. Aurelian now has not got to think about Louis, as Marlon picks up a 3-second penalty, as does Leon as well, further down the field. But Devon now in third. FVR advantage out on track, and Louis is caught back in the wash. He's got Marlon quicker than him in behind, and Louis has really got to get on with things now.
Marlon really epitomized the definition of pushing there, as he just had a massive moment out of turn 5, I believe that is. Yeah, big oversteer there for the German. Keeps in the DRS, of course, but that would not have helped his tires and perhaps even his rhythm. So let's see how he gets on after that rotation, going a bit deep there through the chicane. And Rydal looks like he's right on the back of that Alfa Romeo now. After a slightly weaker qualifying than maybe would have wanted. Maybe this is a bit of a call for Rydal to get on with things. Just under 2/10 away from that Alfa, but cannot make anything work as of now. But
10-11. Turn 11 to the inside line. Rydal will try and get the move, but again it doesn't work. The outside traction coming off that corner is something else, and rotation hangs on to 7th. Rodadal there in 8th, but Rodadal, he needs to think about where to get the move. Turn 11 is his favourite corner out on track. He's got pace. He just needs to use that pace and use it with his ERS. His ERS is limited, but now he dives into the inside line at punts at turn 15, and in the end gets caught up on the curb, and now becomes all sorts of trouble coming out of the corner, and now Slayer's side by side with him, running down the straight. That's an aggressive move to the left-hand side from Rodadal. Slayer's got to watch out for him. He's on the inside line, the TTG man, and I think he should be through. Still there, the Rodadal, forced up on the curb, too wide into turn 1 and 2, never going to work, and Slayer, in the end, he had the car ahead, he got the job done, he's into 8th, and Rodadal, that mistake cost him.
Yes, indeed. That was it's Kausgaard there at the back. Looks like he's gone around in turn 2. So it's it's not great, of course, for the FRL team. They've been doing pretty well for themselves. I would have said rotation there up in 7, still being in this big DRS train up front, which is now extending all the way down to Keke in P10. So he's tail-ending this pack and is now saving some of the battery. So eventually those pit stops will be coming in, and then it's going to make stuff really interesting. Rydal, will he go for anything now? I don't think he is close enough, but the straight line speed, we have seen it. It is something else on that McLaren, but he's already out of ERS. So will the slipstream be enough to go for another move into turn 11? Surprise his opponent a little bit, but this time I don't think he considered it. But yeah, let's have a look. On the exit, perhaps? No, he's way too far back this time, so no move's going to happen from Rydal. Perhaps he just doesn't want to lose that position to Keke now as well.
Yeah, he needs to lift and coast, I think, coming into the corners, just to save a bit of extra ERS up out on track, and he's doing a good job. He's there in 9th position. Grosjean, by the way, there in 11th. After that spin, obviously, from, I think it was Leon, who actually dropped down there in 12th position, and Kyle Scarrett, obviously, down in 16th. He's now out of that train as well, so he's in a bit of no man's land out on track. But Aurelian is beginning to press Jeroen for the race lead. I've been on board with him for the last lap or so, and the big impetus now is Aurelian has got to try and think about a move, as Kyle Scarrett must have picked up damage as a result of that spin. In fact, he's retired into the pit lane, so that's disappointing from Kyle Scarrett's perspective. FRL are down a driver. They have got rotation 7th, but rotation, to be fair, is struggling. Slay's right on the back of him, coming to the right-hand return number 6, and now to the left-hand return number 7, on board with the leaders, Jeroen from Aurelian. But Aurelian has saved up 75% of ERS. Jeroen is on 58%, 59% in fact, coming down the straight. So Aurelian carrying more ERS than Jeroen at this stage. That is crucial for him. What is not crucial, though, Devon is quicker than him on pace and behind, and Devon has got to try and push Aurelian all the way to the limit. And this is what we're going to see so many times in PSGL this season. Louis has also just dropped off the back of the pack as well, and that is big because Shizou currently, their stranglehold of the drivers over the drivers and the teams championship, in fact, seems quite circumspect. In fact, it's not, and Louis is beginning to struggle.
Yes, Lewis, he's slowing down a little bit. It looks like he just has to back off that a little bit more than he maybe would want to. But I think soon with the pit stops, I would say the pit stops might be starting in a lap or two. Even with the tyre wear being pretty high around here, it's so much about track position here as well. But I think Devon is probably looking the raciest out of this top 3, or even, top 10 overall, you should say. With that big DRS train. But yeah, Louis looking like struggling. He is saving that battery, so at least it's good on that. But he definitely has one of the bigger gaps in this top 5 flight. And I think Justin is also one to put a bit of pressure there on Devon, who of course gained that position after what seems to have been a little bit of a coming together between Justin and Louis earlier on. But yeah, now Aurelian perhaps a slight mistake, and that could just invite Devon into the party here, into the chicane.
Yeah, Premier 2, by the way, that is going on right now on the live stream as well. They've got more viewers than us, which is disgraceful. Kieran out on top, 8.2 seconds from Jerome there in second, Ishak in third, and Max Power there in fourth. So if you do want to watch that, you can go and watch it. Badgerman as well, famous commentator, is also in the chat, which is very good over there. See, they get the privileges, we don't. Jeroen leads the way from Aurelian in second, Devon there in third, halfway now through the race, and half the race to go. It is intermediate conditions, by the way, as well in EML Premier 2 at this stage, with a transition, I think, from dries into wet weather. But Jeroen leading the way, Aurelian in second, Devon in third. We've got a bit of a more tactical, it's a bit like chess at this stage. They're just trying to mirror. It's a high-speed game of chess, and they're just trying to mirror each other in terms of their moves. And is this the time for Devon to come in? Yes, it is. Devon is into the pit lane. Louis also follows him, so that is crucial. And actually, Justin's gone into the back of Louis. Justin into the back of Louis. That's why Louis picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. and Justin has gone into the back Marlon, I should say, has gone into the back. Not Justin. Justin stayed out. Marlon, in the end, has dived it into the pit lane. He broke way too late into the back of Louis. He goes. Louis, I think, has got a little bit of damage potentially on the rear wing. He's out ahead of Marlon. But that, from a Shazoo perspective, is not great news at all. That 5-second penalty, if it is going to be removed, has to be removed, because that was physical contact, and they're coming pretty much inside of each other, coming towards turn number 1.
Oh, interesting stuff this. Now the tyres will have to warm up, but of course that penalty would be a bit of a blow for the Shazoo team, but surely that would have to be removed, of course. Marlon, yeah, he broke way too late there, hits the back of the Shazoo driver, and therefore incurs a 5-second penalty. But perhaps some damage for Marlon as well, so you never know if that damage is already fully done to the Shazoo man. And instead, yeah.
Go on. I thought Aurelian was catching your own. Go on.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, looking at that gap, I think the pit stop might be happening soon. Oh, look, he's looking to the inside, but I think it's just a wider entry line there for Jerome to again cut out on the exit. But let's see now what that will do with the top 3 at this current stage. I think this might just invite Justin, or even, well, the other 2 as well, Aurelian and Jerome, to pit in already.
Yep, and 3 of them are in. 3 of them are into the pit lane. Yaron, Aurelian, Justin! Oh my god, nearly again into the back of Aurelian into the pit lane. Rotations folded in. Rotterdale's folded in. Slayer though. TTG Man's got to use his pace up now. This will be the best time to do it. Overcut is quite potent around here, so TTG have clearly seen a bit of a gap, and Slayer now has to go for it. He's got very limited battery though. If he had more battery, I think I'd favour him more, but he doesn't, and he's got to be down the field. Where is Predator? There's Predator there. Where is Mr. Louis and Marlon? They're coming to the final corner, and in the end, they're going to be actually miles ahead. Look at this. Yaron, Aurelian, and Justin are miles ahead of Louis and Marlon, and Marlon, in the end, has actually jumped rotation. So Marlon ahead of rotation, which is crucial. Justin, though, under pressure from Louis on the restart, out on track, and now to the inside line of turn number 4, he'll defend. But Slayer leads the way from Keki in second, Grosjean in third. Louis getting almost too close there to the back of the Williams, but he needs to think about this, getting this move done. He's got a lap warmer tyres. He has, though, Marlon right on the back of him, with more ERS, with more straight line speed. Could we see a 3 wide and towards turn number 8 and 9? Potentially. Louis on the back of Justin. They're running down the straight, and in the end, they're going to run line astern, I think, to the inside line of turn number 8. And yeah, indeed, Louis does not go for the move. Marlon gets caught in the inside curb, has a bit of a half moment, and now Louis has got to try and think about getting the move done on Justin up the hill, but it's not going to happen because Aurelian, in the end, might go for the move on your own in towards turn number 11.
I just say in general as well, it's an FVR 1-2 right now. In effect, Aurelian hits the back of Jerome. Oh, there's so close stuff going on here, but looks like FVR might have just profited the most from all of this. Jerome defending ever so slightly from Aurelian. I think now the ERS might be used as much as possible, as Devin there struggling the most. The top 5 are now pitching in, apart from actually Predator. This battling now is going to really bite them. There's Aurelian.
Never gonna work.
Contact. Oh, let's have a look at Justin now. Justin on the exit. Aurelian. Oh my.
Louis just had a spin coming out the final corner as well. He's just lost a position to Marlon in all of this, and this is unbelievable. Justin now ahead of Marlon. Marlon now ahead of Louis. Shazoo unfolding between their eyes, it seems. Yaron has done this before. LOE, Abu Dhabi, a couple of races ago. Yaron pretty much made that Ferrari look as wide as possible for the race lead then. This is now team tactics. This is now personal between FVR and Shazoo. Yaron there in a net second with Predator still out on track. Aurelian there in third. This is going to be Yaron second manning. Devon basically out on track. They've got to stay within a second. So far so good, but they are running out of battery, which is crucial.
Yeah, pretty much nobody has ERS off that pack. The only one who does actually not flash the light so far is Rotation, who's very close to the back of Louis there, who has had not the best run through the chicane, but can make it up with a little bit of ERS. But yeah, indeed, almost nobody has the ERS at this current stage. Keki still caught behind the Slayer, but crucially, they have lost the DRS. So perhaps this overcut was not the best decision from the two, as Grosjean there behind. He's lost some more time, 7.5 seconds behind the pair now. But I think these two have now lost out with this overcut, and Predator will he pit in now? Yes, he will. That will release FBR into this on-track 1-2, but the job is very far from done with a surging Shazoo Aurelian, who's already been hunting down Jerome in this first stint and now is behind both of the FVR drivers. That's going to make it, of course, a lot more difficult, but still, certainly not impossible. It's just that double power that FVR now have in the lead of this race. Jerome with the fastest lap of the race as well, cementing those ambitions for the FVR team.
Yeah, and Jav as well, cementing what I think is going to happen between the FER boys in the chat there as well. Jerome directing his next teamwork TikTok as we witness, quite literally, out on track. Jerome did that in Abu Dhabi. In the end, I think he won the race in Abu Dhabi as well. So he has got form in doing defensive work for teammates, and Jerome there in second has to try and live up to the pace of Devon. And I'm very, very happy by the current result at this stage. Not showing any bias at all, but we've got a PSGL F2 man leading the PSGL F1 man at this stage, which is not looking too shabby at all, considering I'm commentating on F2 again this season.
I mean, that just shows how close the gaps really are between all these PSGL tiers. It's so close up there. And Devon leading the way from Jerome. That's going to be crucial. But the tyre life might just have a word in that. Jerome, though, at the moment, might still be struggling a little to keep up with his teammate. But I think later on, that tyre wear might come into play a little more. So Jerome will be closer to the back of his teammate. And certainly, well, I wouldn't assume, of course, they will be fighting, because that would simply just not make sense. But right now, that 90-degree flipped French flag is 1 and 2, and this is certainly looking very interesting. And I think Aurelian is not a happy man right now, having both of these Ferraris ahead.
Yeah, and the Ferraris as well, with the outlook on the Teams Championship, FVR would be in a clear second position ahead of VIR by good, what, I'm thinking around 8 or 9 points potentially, with Leon being all the way down in 12th position as rotation picks up a 3-second penalty. We'll have a look through the penalties actually, but two-thirds of the way through the race. Marlon has picked up 3, Louis 5 seconds, I think that'll get removed before the end of the race. Rotation on 3, Grosjean on 3, Leon on 6, Yildirim on 12, I don't know what he's been doing at the back of the field, Mustache there on 3, and that is it in terms of the penalties as Aurelian are looking on the back of Jerome. Jerome, though, has that instruction been given by the FER boys. He's getting within a second again, but he just dipped outside of a second on the exit of turn 6 and 7, and Aurelian could have been there to snap it up. In the end, as not, as Yildirim was spun on the other side of the track through turn number 2, but Aurelian, again, on the back of Jerome. He looked quick up the straight line in towards turn number 10 at various parts in the first half of the race. Now he's got to put Jerome in the second half of the race and put him under pressure at this stage, maybe in towards turn 11. He looks for the inside line, bit of a faking of the move there from the Frenchman, and the Shazoo hangs on in third, Jerome there in second, doing a good job. But Devon leading the way, the Dutchman leading the Frenchman. This could be a sign of things to come a little bit later on in terms of the drivers as well. Justin Evanford, and now the split beginning to happen, maybe with Louis, as I say, struggling completely now on those tyres after that moment, after that bit of spin as well, and that obviously the moment with Marlon into the pit lane. Louis there now nearly outside of a second to Marlon, and Marlon is ahead of him out on track, so that could go down to the stewards quite literally.
Yeah, I think it will, to be honest. Shazoo, Louis Valentin, they're really struggling right now. He is out of the DRS range at the moment, and yeah, he's now going to have to really get a move on to get back into this 1 second range. Right now he has done that, but it's just looking very close, and I think the final sector is really the defining factor for a lot of the drivers. In fact, I feel like Jerome is also a driver who loses out a little in sector 1 and sector 3. I think we might have Justin here going on the back of Aurelian, as he just thinks about a move, but good defending there going on from the Frenchman. The Austrian driver can't make anything work here so far. Bit of a moment on the exit, Yildirim, another penalty, but I think that'll be obsolete at this point. He's currently down in last. Let's have a look. Justin, I don't think he can make anything work there on Aurelian at the moment, but certainly looking very racy, the NLR man, and trying to pick up the most points possible. Keki's also there in P10, so definitely not out of the picture.
Yeah, and also looking to pounce on his opposition as Predator on the back of Playtendo there in 13th. Now going to let the animal out of the cage potentially in terms of this move towards turn 11. In the end, though, this is not going to happen whatsoever. Maybe in towards turn 11 it might actually, and Playtendo has to try and defend the TTG man just about. Oh, he falls to the move to the inside of turn number 12, and there's contact. And in the end, you let the animal out of the cage, and in the end, you feed him a bit of meat, and Predator there, down in 15, wasn't the lion that I was expecting him to be out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. That was not on that move, unfortunately. Way too late there for Predator, and now he now has some orange prey, I suppose. That McLaren head looking, of course, still fairly tasty due to the lack of DRS that he does have right now. There's ETA Gustav, but yeah, I think it's time to stop with those metaphors. That is a spin ahead, I think.
Marlon.
Is that Marlon? Yeah, Marlon. Oh, he's really struggling, isn't he? That might be so crucial for VIR. They've just had such a good race, 2 podiums in that one race. P1 for Marlon, P3 for Skyline it was. And now, all the way down at 10th and 12th, both have penalties as well to their names. So it's really not looking good for VIR so far.
And it's certainly not looking good from a Shizou perspective either, because Louis is now 1.7 seconds behind Justin as a result of that spin. Marlon was keeping Louis within a second. Now he's got absolutely nobody to help. He is going to hope that the FER boys somehow back up into each other, and then Aurelian and Justin back up into each other, and then he's back within a second again. He has got to really be on the ball now, is Louis Valentin there in 5th, because he is going nowhere quickly. He's got a 5-second penalty, but at this stage in the race, if he gets that 5-second penalty removed, which we are thinking that the stewards will probably remove, if it was to stop now, getting 5 seconds removed, he'll actually win the race.
Yeah, actually, yeah, he would. just had to work out the math there. But I think even if we're looking at this from this perspective, perhaps rotation might be looking for an overtake, of course, to get the most possible track position there on Louis. And then having that 3-second penalty for rotation might just ensure Louis a little bit that he can stay in that DRS and at least pick up a 5th place once that 5 seconds, which in my opinion, of course, are not a fair penalty, will get removed. And therefore would still keep a solid 5th place, and therefore minimize the loss to FBR, who seem commanding right now, 1 and 2 for the team. But I think Aurelia is definitely looking very racy. It's just the question, how much ERS can they all save up? Because, well, all their lights pretty much have been flashing there at the back. I think Justin probably is looking the most racy and actually saves up the most ERS out of the top 5 so far. So he could well become a factor towards the end. It just depends really how the rest are handling it. Another penalty for VIR Leon. It's not looking good.
Yeah, Louis, 5-second penalty if he gets removed. Maze is confusing me now in the chat because of what I've maybe just said on the stream. Gap is 3.6 seconds. So if he was to get 5 seconds removed, which is 5 seconds of speed in the pit lane, that is a 5-second deduction off race time, isn't it? So he would win the race. That's my thinking anyways. I might have just confused everyone.
yeah. It happens sometimes, I suppose. It's just part of the game, how it goes eventually. Devon leads the race, Jerome there in 2nd. It's still looking close between the two, but I think they've got this under control at the moment. Obviously, Aurelian, they might know Aurelian's URS, depending on if they do have an engineer in their party chat perhaps or not. But if that is the case, of course, they will be knowing how to defend. But Justin, look at how close he is. And he's got the most DRS. He's got about 20%. So could he be looking for a bit of an upset there in the podium places? This is tight.
Jav's asking me if I'm okay. No, I'm not. I'm not. Down on the back of rotation. Rotation on the back of Louis. And Louis, in fact, regardless of what I've just said about the 5-second penalty, he's going to lose it anyways, because rotation is now through and he's into 5th and gets the job done into the left-hander of turn number 8 at Le Chicane Nord. He is when he's into 5th. Louis there in 6th. Rodadal in 7th. And now Slayer trying to potentially sledgehammer his opposition. That's the best I could think of. Slayer there in 8th. Rodadal there in 7th. There's another spinner. That's Yulbream round. And also Mustaches round as well in the first sector. But Yulbream has spun completely. The Relentless Man does get back going again. I'm not sure if there's front wing damage potentially on the car. But Louis goes so far out wide. Coming out of turn number 11 into the left-hander turn number 12. And Slayer tried to pounce there on the back of Rodadal. Didn't get the job done. But currently, Devon out on top, Jerome there in 2nd, Justin there in 3rd, Aurelian in 3rd, Justin there in 4th, and Rodadal getting very close to the back of Louis. It's just a matter of time that Louis is just going to be swept up by this field of much fresher tyres than him. He is surely, as a result of that bit of damage, potentially that I think he's got, I think Louis got a bit of re-wing damage. It might be very, very light, but it's costing him.
Yeah, it looks like something must be holding him back right now. He usually wouldn't be at this level of pace. And what I'm wondering now, could rotation perhaps even get away from Louis? And at this stage, it might even be possible. I know it's only 5 laps to go as well, because this race has somehow flown by. Just the 5 laps that we have left in this French Grand Prix. But yeah, rotation is looking pretty quick. He needs to break out another 2 seconds. Crucially, firstly, needs to break out the DRS. He already breaks the slipstream there from that AlphaTauri behind. But at the moment, it still doesn't look too likely. I think Ryderdal might be the raciest one here, trying to get a move on so far. Slayer as well, Keki in behind. All of these guys would have been trying to save the ERS. Ace Mustache picking up a penalty there, but down in P18. Yeah, a lot of ERS being used. The only one who doesn't, at the moment, I would say at least, it is Keki, about 50% in P9 there. And let's see if he can maybe put that to use later on in the stint, as many ahead are struggling on ERS numbers. And Louis, perhaps, I think Louis might honestly be struggling the most on tyres at this stage.
Definitely so. Jadler saying in the chat, does Louis perhaps have some sort of wing damage, perhaps contact with Marlon? Yes, Marlon actually outbroke himself into the braking zone. That's why Louis got that 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Marlon basically forced him over the white line into the pit lane entry, and therefore he had that 5-second penalty as a result. So I'm imagining he's got rear wing damage as opposed to front wing damage, because there was no front wing contact. It was pure front wing from Marlon's perspective on the rear end of Louis' car. So therefore, Marlon, you would have thought it came out worse. He spun by himself. So actually, Louis, if he does want that report putting in, it's not really going to affect anyways, because now Marlon's right behind it. Marlon's behind him and outside of DRS range, and he just picked him with a 3-second penalty as we've on board with him as well. But Devon leading the way, Jeroen in second, and now this is Operation Hold Up for the FVR boys. Jeroen in second. This is the point where something has got to give in terms of the pace, either from Aurelian's perspective or from Jeroen's perspective. Jeroen there in second. He's on the same strategy as Aurelian. Devon, though, has looked very quick in the second half of this race, and I think that is going to come out on top in the end. And Jeroen, he will use his wingman privileges, quite literally, to try and defend off Aurelian, and maybe even let Justin in as well for podium.
Yeah, I think so. I think the most interesting part about this is that from the top 3 at the moment, I think Jeroen's the only one above 10%. Aurelian actually just edging above 10 there, but he's using as much as he can to just keep so close to that slipstream range. Yellow flag there at the back. That looks like Relentless Jet. Yep, it is Jet indeed in that Haas. But indeed, I feel like, yeah, Jeroen just isn't quite on this pace, I think. Devon looking really, really strong at the moment, as Jewelry with another penalty there.
Ryderdal on the back of Louis, so to cut you off, Alex, to the inside line at turn number 1. The McLaren will pull to the inside line. Is he going to outdo him on the brakes? No, he's actually forced Louis into a mistake. Could get the switch back out of turn number 2. Beautiful switch back out of turn number 2. Could give Slay the advantage, though, up towards turn number 3. And in the end, the remain as they are. Louis there in 6th. Ryderdal in 7th, but in the end, I thought Ryderdal had that move 100% complete coming out through the final corner. He had so much straight line speed. In the end, his ERS let him down, and unfortunately, he lost the move.
Oh, look at Justin. I think Justin might be on for a move here. He is using all his ERS on the back over Aurelian. He's now going to the outside. That'll turn to the inside for the next part. Oh, big contact. Oh, that might be looked at by Justin and by, I suppose, the stewards as well, if they want to get involved on it. Justin is round! And that puts an end to all those podium ambitions. What a shame there for Justin.
Slay's round as well.
Just loses the car.
Yeah, Slay had a bit of a half spin, I think, on the curb, and now has lost the move to Keki. So Keki now through and he's into 7th. Slay there and 8th. I'm not sure if there was contact involved in that, but regardless, Keki's ahead of Slayer, no matter how you look at it. Justin, though, I think got too much in terms of the curb. Just too much on the power coming out of turn number 8 and 9. It's so easy to do coming out of that chicane. And unfortunately, Justin pays the price. The NLR man from a potential podium has gone up in smoke. And now we get a 2-lap battle to the checkered flag between FVR and Shazoo. Not the driver that I would have been expecting actually out in front. Devon leading the way from Aurelian, from Jeroen there in 2nd. But Aurelian there in 3rd has got to think about going for the move on Jeroen. He just doesn't simply have the pace at this stage, Alex, to try and keep up with them.
Yeah, but it looks like just this FVR teamwork there. This 1 and 2 was crucial into how this result is possibly shaping up. Of course, there is still nothing decided on this French Grand Prix, but it's looking pretty likely. I think Giron, he is just struggling that little bit in the first sector, I feel like, but just about keeps himself in range. But that always invites Aurelian, perhaps even tricks Aurelian into using some of his ERS. So maybe if this is some smart team play, then fair play to FBR. If they are using this tactically to just drain Aurelian's battery and not have any chance to pass whatsoever. So that would be extremely smart from the two in front. I think Devon now using some of his ERS as well to pull along his teammate. But pretty much nobody in this top train had any ERS at any stage of the race. The only one who did was Justin, who, he just fell short to that mistake and to that attempted overtake on Aurelian. And, seems himself languishing now down in P10. And, a lot of moves still going on. It's not decided. The final lap is yet to come, and I think this could be a very tense climax here.
There's a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. I think that's Mustache that is round down in 18th position.
Yep.
Needs to grow out his beard more if he does want to try and get more points out on track. Down in 18th. But Devon there leads the way for Miron in second. Aurelian there in third. Aurelian, I was going to say, just coming out the final corner, he made a slight mistake there. I was going to say, I saw a flick in his mentality there. Coming through the middle sector, he really wanted that. Coming through turn number 10 was much quicker than your own through that part of the track, and that is what he's going to have to rely on in this stage of the race. Devon now, though, becoming a little bit under pressure. He's out of ERS. Your own isn't, and he's got 14% of ERS, so this is actually working out to be a pretty good tactical ploy by the FVR boys on this final lap. No matter how you look at it, it could be a 1-2, but Aurelian, again, that flick of the mentality is there. He wants this as much as Jeroen, as much as Devon, and now he's going to try and come charging on the back of the FVR boys. He has got the straight line speed down the straight. That is going to be crucial, as is going to be crucial for Louis. He ran the outside of rotation into the left-hander of turn break. He's even passed before the straight, so Louis through, and he's into fourth. Gets the job done. Rotation there down into fifth, and now Louis all of a sudden put Shazoo once again back within third and fourth position. Jeroen though on the back of Devon. Is this now the chance for Jeroen to have a crack at his own teammate? It looks like Aurelian is spent there in third, and Devon now coming to the right hand, turn 11 for the final time. Jeroen there in second is really beginning to charge actually in the final stage of this race. Not over and done with yet here in France, but now, no matter how you look at it, it's going to be an FDR 1-2, and this is being played absolutely perfectly on the Frenchman's home turf of Aurelian. He's going to come up short. Devon through the final corner. The PSGL F2 man is going to take the win in France. Round number 9 of the round number 6 of the championship goes to Devon. Brilliant stuff from Devon. Takes the win from Jeroen in second. Aurelian there in third. In the end, a class above the rest as Rotterdam fights rotation all the way to the line in a bit of a drag race there. Rotterdam in the end does get fourth with penalties. Rotation there down to 7. Justin Louis, I think, but also nearly side by side across the line as well. But Devon out on top. Jeroen in second, and FVR played that final lap to absolute perfection. Jeroen got on the power. He was really pushing Devon as well. Another lap, it could have been different, but Devon takes the win. Jeroen in second, and Aurelian, in the end, Alex in third, just did not have the pace to try and win.
Yep, he didn't quite have the pace, but I think the situation is what made that super tough as well for the Frenchman. I think it was absolutely perfectly played by FPR. I think Jeroen actually wasn't using any of his ERS down the first part, so the DRS part of the Mistral straight, to then dump all of it on the second part, and therefore getting very close to his teammate, and also ultimately not allowing Aurelian to have any kind of go. So absolutely perfectly played from FPR, and I mean, a 1 and 2, you can't complain here, can you? It's absolutely brilliant. And Aurelian, P3, a podium in his home race, but I don't think he'll be too happy with it.
That's probably one of the cleanest races of the season, I think we've seen as well in EML Premier 1, which is fantastic. He'll bring that to the line. Is he going to crash his way to the line? I thought he was, but he doesn't in the end. He finishes that down in P19. Only one DNF out on track. That was Carl Scout, of course, retiring in the pit lane earlier on. But in the end, more episodes of movie night like you have in Love Island. But Devon takes the Draw of the Day awarded by the in-game fans, and in the end takes a really, really well-deserved win. And if that's the form that he's going into PSGL F2 next week, he could be a very, very likely title contender in terms of PSGL F2. But the FER man does come out on top. from his fellow compadre and fellow teammate, of course, and Verone in second. They come now to the top step of the podium, nonchalantly to the top step of the podium. Very happy indeed, though, is Devon. Takes the win. The Dutchman does it here on the Frenchman's home turf, on Chazou's home turf, and in the end, Chazou could not have the muster to try and close in. Louis spent early on in that second half of the race, but it's Devon, Verone, and FER who exploit Chazou tonight, close the gap on them, and that is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, that was perfect execution. I mean, can you complain about this drive at all from the FER guys? But I feel like if you're just looking at the gaps very quickly there, Louis is currently classified P9, but if you were to remove that 5-second penalty, he would jump actually all the way ahead of Ryderdahl again. So that would be perfect as to reducing the damage that has been done with this fantastically executed 1-2. Then the order would be 2 Dutch drivers and 2 French drivers right behind each other. I mean, this is looking so interesting. Brilliant stuff from all the drivers up and down the field.
Yeah, and Marlon, by the way, apologising to Louis in chat, which is really good to see. But Devon, he was 6th on the grid, by the way. I don't know how he got up to the top 3 by the end of lap 1. But Devon takes the win from Verone in second, Arali in there in third. Verone also picked up fastest lap of the race as well for FER. Ryderdahl in 4th, Keki in 5th, Slayer in 6th, Rotation in 7th, Justin, Louis, Marlon, top 10, then Grosjean, Gustav, Leon, Predator, Playtendo, Jet, Daddlepad, Mustache, Yildirim and Kyle Scarrett rounding off the top 20. Luckily that stayed up on my screen when Playtender was leaving the session, just so I can run through the full order of the grid. But what we are going to do now is I'm going to cut to a blue screen and hopefully get these guys in for interviews. That is, if they do want to do interviews. They'll be invited to the party anyways. I'm not just saying, oh, they'll have interviews. But yeah, hopefully somebody will join at least. Oh, and really? That is strange. That is strange. I'm having an issue potentially in terms of inviting people. Give me a second. There we go. There we go. It's kicked in now. Don't know what was going on there. But yeah, I'm gonna invite the top 3 in. Hopefully they're all on the play together list. Otherwise, I've got absolutely no chance of inviting them. Top 3, remind me, were Devon, were Verone, and Mr. Aurelian. There he is. Lovely stuff. Right, all 3 of them have been added, so all 3 of them should have an invite into the commentary box for interviews. That's if they do want to do interviews, of course, here tonight. But focusing on the rest of the season, second half of the season now well in full swing, Alex. And in terms of the calendar going forward, we have got next week, when I find the calendar, give me a second, I need to find the calendar. I can't find the calendar anywhere. There it is. We are in, next week, the Netherlands. We are, of course, in Zandvoort. So how do you think the drivers are going to get on around there?
I feel like Zandvoort might be one of those tracks for the qualifying drivers, because we know how super difficult it is to overtake at that place. And yeah, we've seen it multiple times in the past. I feel like the higher you qualify up the grid, the better a chance you've got to perform for your team. And even the tire difference doesn't, even the tires don't really make too much of a difference overall, if you will. So this could certainly be very interesting there in Zandvoort, because DRS not being super potent down a not very long main straight, the second straight being pretty much irrelevant to overtaking. So I feel like track position is going to be absolutely key. And, well, it's also a little bit of a race, perhaps, that could serve up for some chaos. So you never know. Zandvoort is a place that can show many faces in regards to the races that we can sort of get produced over there.
Yeah, definitely so. And we can now speak, of course, to the guys who finished in the top 3. First of all, of course, it is PSGL F2 man Devon. And Devon, in the end, the FVR team tactic plan absolutely pulled off to absolute perfection in that race. Yeah, really happy with the win, and in the end, the final lap of the race, I'm not sure if you backed off potentially in terms of the actual racing out on track. I believe... Oh, we can't hear you apparently, Devon. I cannot hear you, but Rallying has just left the party as well.
Je party settings even aanpassen, en dat je mag delen, zeg maar.
Exactly that.
Sorry, yeah, I quickly told him what to do.
Quick fix.
Zit je PS5 of PS4? Dan die puntjes in de party en dan kijken wat er staat. Voice chat settings. Ja, voice chat settings. Moet je voice chat settings en dan share your voice, allow. Alright, it's fixed, I think.
There we are.
Multilingual today. Wow.
Yeah, multilingual. Goodness me, we've had French, we've had Dutch, we've had English.
Now you can hear me. Now you can hear me.
I hope we can. I hope we can. But what we're saying now, the first question obviously that I asked is the FVR team plan pulled off to absolute perfection.
Yes, it was perfect. I want to say a big shout out to Jochem and to Jeroen. Because Jochem engineered us throughout the race, so big shout out to him. And yeah, as you said, the team strategy was perfect. So yeah, very happy with this win for the team.
Yeah, very happy with the win indeed. Even though I thought final lap you backed off, certainly in terms of the throttle. Were you worried about your own behind you potentially in terms of actually overtaking, or was that just part of the plan?
Yeah, it was. I wanted to make sure I got this win, and yeah, I wanted to make sure Jeroen stayed ahead of Axie, so yeah, that's why I backed off.
Yeah, definitely so, and obviously outdoing a PSGL F1 reserve and a PSGL F1 full-time driver doesn't set you up too bad for the PSGL season ahead either.
Exactly.
But yeah, fantastic race obviously from your perspective. Alex, any questions?
Yeah, I've got a question, perhaps maybe for the strategy department, because I feel like, obviously now that you said Jochem in the engineering there, I suppose he would have advised you well, and I mean, look, it worked out perfectly, and once you came out of the pit lane, of course, in 1 and 2, effectively, of course, due to some drivers not yet having stopped, how assured did you feel that perhaps this was going to be your win now, and you would start off that second half of the season on the right foot?
When I got out of the pits, I basically had around 60% ERS, so I could push on my, I could push very much on my outlap. So that's why I got ahead of the guys out of the pits, and I already thought that I really had strong pace. So yeah, from that moment, I think.
I mean, overall, even carved your way from 6th to 1st. I mean, that's a super impressive job overall. So congratulations, that was really, really well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and before you go as well, it is your home track next week, Devon. Are you going to be racing for FER there? And if not, what can we expect from the FER team on home ground?
I don't know if I'm racing. I don't know if I can, but I'm expecting a very strong weekend from the FER team, obviously.
Yeah, first and second, certainly gaming in terms of the team standings as well. That is the name of the game at the end of the day. Gain as many points. You took fastest lap as well with your own in the end. Go and enjoy your evening, Devon.
Enjoy your evening too.
I will do, certainly. We've got 2 more interviews to do before then, but it is... we can now speak, of course, the man in P2, and that is, of course, Mr. FER, Jeroen. And Jeroen, in the end, I saw what you did in Abu Dhabi in LOE, being the wingman to Devon, and that is the sort of role I think you took tonight in terms of securing that first and second.
Yeah, no, first of all, big shout out to engineer Jochem, because he did his work perfectly. And also, yeah, Devon just did what I wanted, keep the cap like exactly as I wanted. Yeah, our wings were very low, so I could just defend from Axe, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly, and obviously with a rally and then behind, he was pushing you quite a lot in that second half of the race, but then his tyres began to give way, his ERS was quite low compared to you guys as well. Were you in fear that a rallying could actually try and nick it on the final 2 laps, because he was really gaining on you?
No, I was not scared, because I was saving battery, and Jochem kept telling me his battery. and he was every time he was on 0 when I had 10% left. So with our wings we could easily defend that. So I was not, yeah. When Devin was in front and Axel was on no battery, there was no threat at all. Just had to keep driving cleanly.
Yeah, it was a stunning plan, pulled off to absolute perfection, I think, from an FVR perspective. Jochen, of course, getting full credit for that one. Alex, any questions?
Actually, not a question, but just simply on that final lap, I've noticed that, of course, Aurelian wouldn't have too much ERS, but then you actually didn't use any ERS at all on that DRS part of the Mistral straight, and I thought that was actually brilliant tacticking play, because once, of course, you went through that chicane and then out of the exit onto that second part then of the Mistral straight, you just used all of it. You gave him absolutely no chance. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, very, very well done to you, and I think this is probably... yeah, the only frame where you would accept not winning the race in the end after starting from pole, because beautiful job in quali as well, super tight, and then, yeah, second place in the race behind only your teammate. I think this is the best start of the season you could have got.
Yeah, no, a 1-2 is always like, it's a team event, so of course you want to win as a driver, but I see it as a win anyway, because it's a team event, so the team wins. Got maximum points, P1, P2, fast lap. So yeah, and it's just perfect day, and look forward to the next one.
And I mean, you gain a lot on VIR as well, so of course cementing that second place too.
And add to that qualification and pole position as well, which I think is what we like to call in the business a Grand Slam, even though your own didn't actually win the race, but still, a Grand Slam completed by the FVR team is what we can certainly give there.
Yeah, and I don't get pole often.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you do get pole, you're normally really consistent in the race, and you certainly proved that tonight in P2. Netherlands next week. How is FVR chances going into the Netherlands?
Good. We don't know the roster yet, but yeah, we have plenty of fast guys ready to race. So yeah, it will be good. Hopefully, a good fight with Shizu.
Yeah, hopefully it will be just another chapter to be added into a never-ending story here in EML Premier 1 this season between Shizu and FVR. Go and enjoy evening your own.
Yeah, thanks to you as well. Thanks for commentating.
You are very welcome. Indeed, as we can now move on to the man who I think is here. I hope he is. The man who finished in P3. It is Mr. Shizu Aurelian. And Aurelian, in the end, you really pushed on those final 2 laps of the race on your own. Did you feel like you could get him?
First of all, congrats to Javier, to Devin and Jeroen for the win. Yeah, I'm quite disappointed of my race because during the fight with Jeroen, I got minor damage, wing damage, so that's the reason why I was 0% ERS. So after that, it was just impossible to save battery or to push. I just tried my best to secure the P3 and to defend against Justin. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously disappointing, I think, from your perspective, but I think you turned that disappointment into the best it could be in that situation. Obviously, that P3, not obviously what you were expecting. Shizu still hold the championship lead, though, going forward. And that, I think, is going to be the main bit of positivity, I think, to take out this race. You're still in the championship lead. So going into next week, of course, in the Netherlands, what is that main focus now for Shizu? Is it just bouncing back, trying to get a 1-2?
Yeah, we will try our best. We don't know the roster yet, so we will see who drives. Shazul let the French guys drive for the French Grand Prix, so we will see. Maybe some Dutch guys racing next week, so let's see. But hopefully we can get a better result.
Yeah, hopefully so, hopefully so. Obviously, with Louis as well, with that 5-second penalty, that BS 5-second penalty, I'm just going to put it out there with Marlon. Obviously, just accidentally, albeit, going into the back of him, 5-second penalty, it'll probably get removed, and it should be 3 and 4, I think, for Shizu moving forward. Alex, any questions?
Yeah, of course, now that you touched onto the damage, obviously I wasn't aware of it, and I've just seen all the time Justin all the way up the back of the Afatari, but how comfortable do you think you were trying to defend from that while also having the focus ahead on the two FVR guys? Of course, it can't have been very easy at all to have the focus from looking forward and back all the time.
Yeah, I think Justin, he tried to save some ERS, and he tried like 2 or 3 attack moves. So I just tried to defend on this, and unfortunately for him, he spun at the end, so it was easier after for me to keep the P3, and yeah, with the damage, it was really difficult to defend from behind, and yeah, but it was my bad on Giron, so just sorry on that.
Alright, thank you very much, and félicitations.
Thanks.
And that is it for me as well. Go and enjoy your evening, Aurelian.
Thanks, you too, guys.
You are very welcome indeed, and that is, I thought I was going to say we come now, move on to the man finishing P4. Don't worry, we've only got 3 interviews tonight. I don't want to be going through the rest of the field thinking what their analysis was about the race and everything, but we have reached the end of EML Premier 1 tonight, and of course, more action to come this week. TML F1 is back, hopefully with a new lobby host, which we have to find. If you are very much courteous to do that, then please do so, because I'm certainly not hosting with my connection issues normally. That causes a few issues potentially in terms of the lobbies. But TML F1 tomorrow night in the Netherlands, TML F2 on Friday night in the Netherlands as well. And Alex, of course, going into the Netherlands for TML, where do you think the problems are going to lie potentially in terms of the racing? Are we going to see really hard but fair racing, or is it just going to be complete and utter chaos?
Short answer on that. Not too long ago, I was actually part of a Zandvoort race. It was a team event too, and yeah, I can pretty much confirm the second option of that is not unlikely. Let's say that. Yeah, there was a lot of drama going on, maybe not in the most positive way. Certainly that example was a bit extreme, the race that I've been doing. But I feel like, yeah, overall Zandvoort might just live off a little bit of the fact that there aren't many passing opportunities, so drivers will be trying moves in a little bit more out there positions, and yeah, we quite often see these not quite go to plan, and therefore leading to a spin or two in the course of the race. However, there are also these races where there is a lot of chaos happening, but on the positive side, so you never know. I'm not expecting maybe the cleanest race you'll ever see, but I think these drivers should really know how they are supposed to race on the field, and then therefore make their moves, timely moves as well, and therefore hopefully not cause any negative chaos.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully everyone can be respectful out on track, and hopefully there'll be some really good racing. EML Premier 2, just to sum it up from Mike's perspective, that was the most horrible experience I've had in a long time. Legit no grip, couldn't warm the rears, sliding around like an absolute Jebediah Springfield. And with that, I'm going to leave it for tonight. Big thank you to Mr. Alex the G for joining me in the comment box, of course, as always. Much appreciated. Hopefully it will continue, of course, as the season goes on. We, of course, are going to be back for TML tomorrow night, or TML F1, I should say, tomorrow night as well. So until then, I've been James Head. He's been Alex the G. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, what's goodbye in French?
Au revoir.
Au revoir, yeah, au revoir. Goodness me, my mind just blanked. Au revoir.
Au revoir.